Hey guys, what's going on? Thank you so much for watching. Welcome to another speed build in The Sims 4. And actually, I shouldn't say another speed build because if you're watching this video right when it goes live, this will be the very first video that has been uploaded to this channel. Now, this is not the very first video I've ever uploaded. If you're not new or you've followed me over from my other channel, thank you so much and welcome. Those of you that don't know, I do run another YouTube channel called Simply Savannah, where we play other creative simulation games like Planet Zoo, Jurassic World Evolution 2, among others. But I recently wanted to get more into my Sims 4 building, and I wanted a dedicated space in order to do that. So for those of you that have found me just because of Sims builds, welcome. Let me introduce myself just a little bit. As I kind of already mentioned, my name is Savannah. I've been playing the Sims games since they very first came out, Sims 1. I played the crap out of Sims 1, 2, and I really didn't play 3, but clearly play a lot of Sims 4. Here on the channel, we're going to be focusing mostly on creative speed build videos. That's not to say it can't change in the future, but right now that is what my focus is going to be on, just because I like the creative building process across many different games. I like to make pretty things, basically, and apparently make pretty things and then talk about them so that you can then watch them like you're doing now. But anyway, that's a little bit about me. I am very excited to have this channel start off here. I have been working on it behind the scenes for weeks now, actually, and very excited that I finally get to debut it for you guys. So that being said, I'm going to do the normal YouTube-y stuff. If you're here, if you found me from my other channel or just happened to come across the channel, leave a like. Hit subscribe, all that kind of fun stuff will help me out. Right now, this channel just starting out, I don't expect too many eyes to be on this video, but as it gets older and we, grow and all that kind of fun stuff, starting from the ground up, so to speak, we'll see how it goes. But let's talk about the build just a little bit, shall we? That's what we're actually here for. So this build, as you might be able to recognize, is in Tartosa, the brand new world that came with my wedding stories. That is a game pack. It just came out. Actually, I shouldn't say it just came out. I'm a little late to the party. No shocker there, but it came out a few weeks ago. And I actually, to be honest, just picked it up couple days ago. I really haven't had it that long. I kind of held off because of the bugs in the game and kind of the controversy of it, and so I kind of just held off just a little bit, but I finally caved because at the end of the day, I really am more of a builder, and so the gameplay bugs aren't going to bother me as much as they would bother some, because I really don't get into The Sims and play around with The Sims. Like I said in the beginning, I just like to make pretty things. So that's what we're here for. So we're building on the 20 by 20 lot that is the little island that's kind of down in the lower left-hand corner of the world there. And let me just say, it is absolutely gorgeous. I love the world. It's so pretty. So when I was deciding where to build, I wanted a kind of a smaller lot because I wasn't going to build too big of a house. And this one, surrounded by water with all the rocks around it, was just perfect. So as you can see by the thumbnail of the video and kind of the start of the exterior that we did so far, it is going to be kind of a Mediterranean style build. It's meant to just be like generalized Mediterranean, not specifically from one region or another, just kind of that feeling. I'm going to use a lot of jungle adventure and actually a lot of like cottage living and the country kitchen kit as well. I feel like those packs go really, really well with my wedding stories. Now we are going to use a few items from my wedding stories as well, but this build here is kind of a mishmash of a bunch of different packs. If you're ever curious on what packs I am using in a build, they are going to be listed down below in the description, along with my gallery ID, which is YTSimplySimming, and everything that I do build is going to be uploaded to there, and you can also check. I know it'll tell you what is used in the build there. So if you're ever curious, I am going to leave all of that stuff down in the description below. I'm not talking too much about what we're actually doing yet because I end up ripping it out and changing it all. So the layout is pretty much set in stone now. This is the layout that we end up going with, but this kitchen here. So you can see I'm starting with the Jungle Adventure counters, and I don't know, I decided that I wanted to go more dark wood in the kitchen, and actually dark wood throughout the entire build, now that I think about it, because I wanted it to seem kind of like an older house, but maybe older house with some renovations is kind of what I was going for. So you can see I've changed now to the cottage living counters. Cottage living and country kitchen, I get mixed up so often, but those counters are cottage living and so are the cabinets up above, and then that little plate thingamajiggy is from the country kitchen kit. But ended up using those because they kind of fit that feeling of a little bit older, and they also had a wood swatch that I really liked. I do end up changing the flooring as well to the cottage living flooring. Looks a little bit more weathered, I guess is the word that I'm gonna use, a little bit more rustic. I tried really hard throughout this entire build not to go too cottagey with everything, which is a danger because cottage aesthetic is one of my favorite things to build, and so I kind of tend to see or let myself fall into that rustic cottagey vibe a lot, and I really have to watch it when I'm not really wanting to build in that style and I'm going for something else. Mediterranean style is not something that I am super familiar with, and I think this is only the second time I've ever tried to build in this style. So I was looking at a ton of reference pictures, mostly on Pinterest, of Sims 4 builds from other creators and things like that. And now that I realize I'm watching this footage, I think I accidentally left that painting on the wall on the inside of the patio. That was not what I meant to do. Oftentimes when I'm going through the menu, I'm kind of pulling out items that I know I'll want to use elsewhere. And that way I can kind of just already have them out and I kind of collect them off to the side. And I'm just realizing that I put that painting out there for that. I wanted to use that like in the bedroom or the living room, and then I forgot about it, and it's probably still there. So if you download it, feel free to delete it or leave it, whatever you want. Whatever floats your boat, you can do that. But anyway, we're just kind of starting to clutter up the kitchen here using lots of little pieces. I do get the OMSP shelf out, I believe, at one point to do like the shelves and stuff like that. But for the most part, doing counters is relatively easy, just placing items on the counter and then moving them into position. But see, giving them a lot of little canisters, some knives. I do the little cutting board behind there, and just giving them lots of stuff to make it look like the kitchen is lived in and appropriately cluttered. The kitchen, to be honest, is my least favorite part of this build. I don't know what it is either. I can't put my finger on it. There's just something about it, and I like the rest of the build so much more. That's not to say that I dislike the kitchen. If I disliked the kitchen, I would have changed it before putting it out live for you guys, but I don't know, there was something about it. It's just not my favorite part of the build. But like I said, easiest room to clutter, in my opinion, because there are lots of little pieces that you can use, especially now with the more kits that we get and the more like game packs and stuff that we get. I feel like each one comes with a little bit more clutter items. And speaking of that, the My Wedding Stories came with these little bottles with little notes in them. So I use these in a couple different places. My idea for these ones on this shelf in the kitchen is maybe they'd be like olive oil or some other type of ingredient for cooking. Not necessarily that you'd be keeping messages in a bottle on your shelf in your kitchen, but maybe you can. I don't know. Then maybe that's where you store them. But that was my idea for those. I think we are just about wrapping up with the kitchen. I think I'm looking for a little bit more wall decoration, but I don't end up finding anything. So I believe I move on to the living room. All in all, this build took me probably like 2 hours to get all done and finished for you guys, which is on the longer side. I haven't actually played The Sims in a couple months, really. I think it might even be longer than that. So I'm trying to remember where things are and relearn everything as I go. But we've moved on to the living room here using that couch from Cottage Living. The only issue that I have with that couch is I really would have wanted it to be a love seat. I really wanted to put kind of a love seat and a chair in this living room because it is a little bit on the smaller side. But that couch was just perfect and I wanted to use it so badly. So I sucked it up and I just put it over there in the corner, kind of by the stairs with this little kind of gap between the couch and the wall. I end up putting a light fixture and a plant back there. So there is a purpose for the space. And I mean, all in all, it works out just fine. I didn't actually play test this build. So if you do download it, apologies if your sim can't get around the coffee table. It is a little bit of a tight squeeze, but hopefully you can just kind of nudge the couch back a little bit and it will fix the problem. I did mean to play test it, and then I got so excited about doing the voiceover and getting this up for you guys and all that kind of stuff that I completely forgot. So I apologize. But we're just adding a little bookshelf, a little basket of pillows and blankets, kind of making it feel cozy. And then we're going to move on to the cluttering to make sure we get lots of stuff on the fireplace mantle. Now that fireplace is from Cottage Living as well, but I did size it down 1. I love the fireplaces that came with Cottage Living, but they're massive. They're so big. So I did size it down 1, which just meant that I had to use the OMSP shelf to make sure that I got things in the correct place and nothing was floating. But when you download it, everything should hopefully be just fine. You can see here, that's those little plants that I put up on top to fill up the little slots so that things would stop snapping on me. That would be where the mantle should be. And the fireplace would be like 1 whole tile wider than it is now, which is just ridiculous. It's a massive fireplace and it didn't need to be that big. But utilizing more of those little messages in a bottle, sizing down a globe, and then I think I put another little basket and a plant up here. Plants are one of my favorite things to decorate with, and as you guys, if you end up following and watching more of my builds or going to my other channel and watching some Sims builds on there, because I do have them over there, but going forward they're going to be on this channel. Plants are my favorite thing to decorate with, and I put them absolutely everywhere. Every Sim that I will ever build for will always be a plant lover. It's kind of how I am. I have plants in every room of my house and actually multiple in every room of my house. The majority of them are actually in my office where I'm sitting now. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plants. I have 6 plants in my office. So I am a plant lover myself. I just think they add a really pretty pop of color and vibrancy to any room, and then they just add life because they're living things, and I love decorating with them. But I'm kind of going with the dark wood and yellow theme loosely throughout the entire build. You can see in the kitchen there is some yellow from like the sunflowers, and then when we go upstairs I continue that sunflower theming into the bedroom, thought being that the Sim just likes the color yellow, like sunflowers. However you want to justify it, that's just what I thought looked good. But we're doing some cluttering here in the little entryway with this little, what do you call this? Like side cabinet thing. Putting some books on there, a little plant next to it. And yeah, that's pretty much the bottom floor finished. Oh yeah, I gotta add the light and the plant back. But pretty much the bottom floor finished. So downstairs is just the kitchen and the living room, and then upstairs is going to be the bedroom and the bathroom. Oh yeah, I was experimenting with some what is that called? Wallpaper, because I thought that the walls looked a little bit bland, but then when I tried to use that wallpaper, it just looked too busy and I couldn't decide, and then inevitably I just ended up going back to the plain wallpaper and moving on. So here you can see we've moved on to the bedroom, and it took me a while to decide what bed to use, really trying to stick with, like I said, that Mediterranean style, and I just couldn't figure out which one would look okay. And then I went back to this one with the sunflowers, and that's when I thought like, well, hey, we got sunflowers downstairs and we're going with kind of the yellow theme. Maybe that'll work out just fine, and I'm pretty happy with it. So this little bedroom is going to be fairly simple, just a bed and a little dresser and a mirror, little bits of clutter here and there, and then the bathroom over on the other side with the little balcony. I really liked the idea of this bedroom being more of like a loft space, so you can see when you go upstairs, you're directly in the bedroom instead of having a door that you go through to get into the bedroom. I liked keeping it nice and open this way, like I said, keeping more of that like loft feeling to it. I think it turned out really, really well. I realized after too that those curtains actually do poke through the ground just a little bit. I was able to hide it in the end glamour shots that you'll see at the very end of the video, but if you do download it, just know, like, if you go into like first person mode and look around, you'll see the curtains poking through the ceiling into the bottom floor. But if you're actually playing, you never see them, because when you go down to the first floor, they disappear, and so it shouldn't get in the way of gameplay at all. But just a little note, I did know that, but it was something I was willing to ignore because I really liked those curtains. I had a hard time finding curtains with the right metal color that I wanted to use, and those ones just fit perfectly. And actually, now that I'm looking at them, I'm forgetting which pack they came from. I did use a lot of different packs in this build. If base game builds or limited pack builds are something that you're really interested in, do let me know. As this is the very first video on the channel, I am extremely interested to know what kind of content you guys like to watch. I will keep this mostly to... actually not mostly to, I don't know for the future, but as of right now, I am only building with in-game stuff, so I'm not downloading any CC custom content or mods. The only mods that I am using are going to be the OMSP shelf that you can see me using here. I have the like free camera mod, whatever it is, so that I can zoom around in buy mode, build buy mode, and take screenshots and stuff. Just helps me make YouTube videos easier. And I believe that's it. I am, of course, using Reshade with this, which is something that I actually just downloaded just before starting this build. I will link all my presets and everything down in the description below. Presets, it's just one preset, but I'll link it down below and let you know what I'm using. That way, if you're interested in using it yourself, you are welcome to. But other than that, I'm going to try to keep this to just... not base game, but just in-game stuff for now. That may potentially change. Again, let me know what you're interested in, because I am extremely interested to know what you guys want to see. But here we are finishing up the bathroom using the shower from the Jungle Adventure game pack. Jungle Adventure expansion pack. Is it an expansion pack or a game pack? I'm pretty sure it's a game pack. It's a game pack. Originally with the bathroom, I really wanted to put like a tub in front of that window, but it was just too small. I wasn't going to be able to fit it in, and in fact, I ended up changing the window out for one of the shorter ones because the clipping with the roof piece that goes into the wall right there was really starting to bother me, even though I loved the idea of a floor-to-ceiling window in the bathroom just to make it feel nice and bright and open. I do end up changing that. We are almost done with the build. We're going to go back outside for just a minute and add some detailing to the outside, as well as just a little sitting area up here. I personally would love to have a place with like an upstairs balcony like this that probably faced east. If I had to choose, like, I would rather watch the sun rise in the morning and be like out there in the cozy mornings. And so I would love to have a house with a little balcony like this where you can just sit out there with some coffee or some tea, eat your breakfast, read a book, like hang out. I love waking up slowly is what I call it. So like waking up, laying in bed for a little bit, getting up, making your coffee, eating your breakfast, spacing out, hanging out, you know, that kind of stuff before you actually get your day started. I hate having to wake up and like get right to things. So I would absolutely love to have a little balcony like that. So I put a little seating area out there because my thought was that whoever lives in this house is like me and would want a little space to sit outside. But now we've moved on to some foliage on the outside, or I shouldn't call it foliage, I should call it landscaping, because now we're dealing with houses, not zoo habitats like I'm used to dealing with on my other channel, but we're doing landscaping here. And keeping it fairly simple, I wanted to utilize some kind of succulent type cactus plants as well as some leafy green plants, and then moving on to some terrain paint. I do have to say, the debug menu for my wedding stories is actually great. That's where those two trees came from, as well as some of the vines on the walls. You might notice that the vines on the walls, I took away the flowers from the Jungle Adventure pack just because I thought they were a little bit too much and I wanted to keep it very green. But I loved the overgrown look. We're pretty much done. So there's just a few seconds left here, or a couple minutes left here of the speed build itself, and then we're gonna jump into some glamour shots and show it off. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like down below. It really does help me out and I greatly do appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button if you're interested in any Sims 4 content whatsoever, and please ignore my dog sneezing in the background if you can hear him. Hopefully you can't, but he just sneezed like 3 times, and of course he has to because I'm almost done recording. He has to get his word in there. Anyway, I digress. Thank you guys so much for watching. Lots of fun links down below if you want to follow me elsewhere, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye!